decisions, great mound visits, great job not letting the best player beat you.
This one crushed, out to right field. And it's going to be out of here. Pennsylvania walk-off home run. Travis Devonic sends him to Williamsport.
With the 37th pick of the 2023 MLB Draft, the Detroit Tigers select Kevin McGonigal, a shortstop from Monsignor Bonner High School, Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. Yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, his 10th career home run in the postseason. And he may never hit a bigger one.
What is up, Delaware County, and welcome back for another episode of Delco Baseball Now. That guy right there is Ben Thorpe. I am Brendan Ricciardi. I feel like it's been a while since we've both been in studio.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I was out last week. I think we were on Zoom.
We were on Zoom, I think, too. Yeah. Good to be back as we get set for this playoff push. I think right now, I like to think about it just in terms of like Central League wise. Like I think after today, everybody will have played everybody once, and then or maybe after Monday. I think after Monday, everyone will have played everybody once, right. And then it gets back to like the recycle where it's like the exact same matchups as opening day. But as of right now, we're actually live reacting to the Lower Merion and Radnor game. This is being recorded Friday afternoon. It's 5-5 in the top of the 8th. We thought at 7:24 we'd be fine and wouldn't have any games to worry about. But this is a game that started at 4 o'clock and is somehow still going. Because, like, even though it's the top of the 8th, like, that's a long game. Like, even if it went 7, that's a long game.
It's the game that refuses to end,
I mean,
it seems like.
And a big shakeup in the standings is coming right here because, let me pull them up right here. So, if
Radnor wins.
So, right now, Lower Merion has, first and second, 1 out, and the game's tied in the 8th. So, if Radnor wins, that would mean that Strath Haven and Haverford would be, like, first and second, and then they'd be the only teams with like 3 or less losses. So like there'd be Strath Haven, Gap, Haverford, Gap, and then Lower Merion and Radnor have the same record, which did not seem like something that was going to happen earlier in the season.
That was, doing like a lot of the write-ups and like going and finding the records and everything. I was like, everyone's either 6-4 or 4-6 right now, and then there's a couple outliers. But
well, that's why that game on Monday with Strath Haven and Haverford is going to be so exciting. If Radnor wins this game, like that will be for sole possession of first place. So I guess we'll quote unquote keep you updated because by the time you see this game will be over. But we'll react to that as well. But first, we're gonna rewind time a little bit. We're gonna go back. We're gonna talk about our game of the week presented by 5 Star Hiring. So I'll tell you a little bit about 5 Star Hiring. They are a trusted a trusted teammate of employers and student athletes. Whether you're a business looking to add the best talent, whether you're a student looking for corporate opportunities, or a coach that wants to prepare their student athletes for after they graduate, reach out to 5 Star Hiring, 5starhiring.net, at 5 Star Hiring on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. I saw he was just at Penn State Brandywine talking to the Delco boys, and James Grugan was at the Episcopal game and Haverford School game with us.
Made the appearance.
Absolutely, got to show out when your company's the one in charge, right?
Oh, for sure. That's got to put a face in the name.
Yeah, and once again, I swear we want to give a hitter the player of the game, but all of these pitchers just keep stealing the show. I want to say in the last 3 games of the week, a pitcher's even had double-digit strikeouts.
Yeah.
Because Ian White Jr. this week for the Haverford School, he had 11. Last week, Corey Sheridan had 13, I think, and Luke Dancona, not D'Ancona.
Dancona.
Sorry, Luke had 14 the week before. But let's talk about this game. So it's the Haverford School and Episcopal top 5 matchup. Haverford School won 2-0. Overall, it was weird. It was an overall uneventful game, but there were some very big defensive plays.
Yeah, a lot of really good defense, especially on the field as beautiful as that. But it was a lot of good defense, and the wind. I mean, we had the Gulf Stream blowing straight in from center field, so there was a very anything in the air was just getting blown back, which I think didn't help with the offense.
Yeah, so both the runs of the game came in the span of two batters. Connor Scanlon and Brendon Green had sac flies back to back, and Connor Scanlon smoked that ball, and it just died. Died immediately, and there was nothing they could do about it. But the big defensive plays, there was I believe it was like either a sac fly or grounder up the middle, and Tyler Beaulieu just threw a rocket home to get, I think it was Pat White going for home.
Yeah.
And Noah Trexler had a diving catch to end the game where I didn't even see it because I had my camera focused on Ian to get like the picture of the final out. And then, I looked to you. I'm like, was that a diving catch, or were they just excited that, he made the play? But from a pitching perspective, what'd you see from Ian? Because he kept these guys off balance all day.
Just a lot of good stuff out of him. I think he mixed up everything very well. Episcopal really seemed to struggle with his off speed. It's tough when you got a guy throwing that hard, especially for high school hitters. And he's, very few, not very few, but like you don't see a lot of guys with that kind of velo and also like control their off speed in high school. So it was a tough matchup for them, and he was on and just looked incredible. Really,
it looked like all the righties would give up on it because they thought it was inside, and then right at the hip it would just jump in. And it's a big rebound start for Ian because the Malvern prep game didn't go very well. To be able to come back out, just put that one behind him a week later, and for a Haverford team that we'll get to their game today, but they're 5-1 in the Interact now. Their only blemish is that one Malvern loss. So whenever they play Malvern at the Haverford school, what's the over under for homers? Like 4.5?
Maybe even more. I don't know though, because like
they have good pitching too.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it'll probably be Ian and Tate Davis maybe.
Depends what day of the week it is.
Yeah,
honestly.
So that's gonna be like.
Because, if it's a Tuesday, it'll probably be Ian and Tate again. But Friday, it's usually Kevin Reevy, or for Malvern, DJ Peterson threw it today.
Yeah, which are also still two really good
exactly.
pitchers. So, I don't know. Like, it's a small field at Haverford, but you still got to, get it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
Yeah, Malvern's new field isn't too big either.
No,
it's like 315 down the lines and I think 365 to dead center. Like, it's still it's bigger than Haverford.
I feel like that's like a fine size for
it is.
school.
I feel like center is shorter than others. 315 down the lines I think is fairly normal.
360 is a little bit of it's a little short, but that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, that was our game of the week. We'll announce in a little bit where we're going for next week's game of the week. But let's talk about the best pitching performance of the season. This is Haverford Public School. Shout out to Jefferson commit Will Hoffman for the perfect game. Not a no-hitter, not a combined no-hitter, not a 5-8. No, 21 up, 21 down, 15 strikeouts for Will Hoffman against Harriton. And that's 22 straight scoreless innings for the Haverford pitching staff, which is nuts.
Yeah, those guys are just locked in right now. I don't know how else to describe it. They're just on. I mean, Jimmy Boyle's given an incredible start the past 2 or 3 weeks now. And Hoffman as your number 2 is just... it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely, obviously when we had the Pencrest guys in, they let us know that, we doubted them in the season, but what do we got? A ball in play here. That looks like Lower Marion might have added 2 right there. I think that's Zazzos Peyton Spiegler.
Uh-oh.
I think that's Peyton Spiegler because I think there's 2. I think Justin's the pitcher. Like the main number 3 pitcher.
There's 2 Spiegler?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Peyton Spiegler. That looks like a 3-run, maybe double.
I don't know what that.
He's not on first base.
Yeah, it's a double, I think. The catcher seemed upset about something there, but the scoreboard's in the way of everything.
Yeah, no, we
have no idea.
Yeah, the way it's angled is odd.
We just saw his reaction and a bunch of guys.
It's 8-5, so that was I'm guessing. I'm gonna look it up real quick. It was either an error or a double, so we can't see anything. Yep, they're calling it a double.
All right.
3-run double. See if the Aces can hold on in the bottom of the 7th here. But back on track with Haverford. They were the team that, I don't necessarily fault us for not really knowing what's coming because they were 6-10 in the Central League last year. They lost their top 3 pitchers in terms of innings, I believe, or maybe their top 3 hitters. I think they lost their top 3 hitters. And they lost a lot of their innings as well. And I was talking with the old Haverford head coach Bogo, and he was like, he knew that before the year they were going to have a better year. I don't have any proof of this, but he told me before the year his prediction was 11-5, and people laughed at him. I have no proof. I'm going to take your word for it, Bogo, if you're listening. But this team just has such a good balance of the young guys and the vets. Like, 3 of their best hitters this year have been Shane Durkin, who's a sophomore, Jimmy Boyle's a sophomore, and Cam McCormick's a freshman. Jeez. Like, they have all these guys. Nick Ovanian, I think, is a junior as well.
He was around last year, so he's got to be a little bit older.
I think he's a junior. And then, from the pitching perspective, I mean, Boyle has been one of the best pitchers in the Central League, and Hoffman, he's had a couple starts where he's been a bit wild, but like performances like this when he has it all going, I mean, it's ridiculous. And this team, after a while, like, the expectations start to rise. Like in the beginning of the year, it's like we want to get back in the playoffs. Then it's like we want to win a play. And now it's like let's host a playoff game. Let's get a bye. Like
they got a shot at it now.
Absolutely, the sky's the limit. And once they're able to get, like, they're going to pick up some more wins throughout the year. Like once they get back on their side, of the division, and they have a real chance to win this conference, which if we had our Delco Baseball Now sportsbook, they would have been on the preseason odds pretty low for us.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I think there were a few teams that I don't think we knew too much about. They were definitely one of them. But yeah, they've just gotten hot, and we've seen a lot of teams get hot and cold all year, but they've kind of like gotten hot and stayed hot for over.
Yeah, because like we had them in the rankings very early. Like they started 2-0 in the Central League, I think, or maybe just 2-0 overall, and we had them in. And then I think they lost. I think they went to 2-3 in the Central League, but then they won 5 in a row to get to 7-3 in the Central League. So they, it's been a lot more up than it's been down for them.
Lower Marion's got 2 more.
Blowing this thing open here.
Oh boy.
Well, we will not be making the power rankings today because there's still games on Saturday. I think we've kind of realized that the Friday night recording time might work best for our schedule, but not in terms of the rest of the games. So I think there's a good chance we switch back to maybe like Sundays or Saturdays or whatever. But regardless, I'm very excited to keep watching this Haverford team. A huge game with Strath Haven on Monday where the winner will be in first place or. It's weird. So one question. So I was substitute teaching at Strath Haven, and during the lunches, the kids would come up and we just talk. We had probably 7 guys in there today, and what we were trying to decide or trying to figure out was, and I bet Bogo can answer this: if 2 teams finish with the same record, but one of them has the head-to-head tiebreaker, do they still split the title? That's what I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question.
Because I'm not sure.
I would imagine. You'd think no.
It should be but I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they do because, like, when it becomes, like my senior year, when 3 teams tie, then you can't do the head-to-head anymore.
Yeah.
But if it's just 2, if it's like Strath Haven, Lower Merion, or Strath Haven, Haverford, and they only play each other once, there is a tiebreaker there. I don't know. But what would take away all of that?
Tournament.
Central League playoffs. Central League playoffs. 14 tournament, just like the Pioneer Conference. With Springford and Phoenixville and Methacton and all of them do.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Wow, 9-5 Lower Merion here. They're really pouring it on.
I do think it's 10-5.
You think they got to drag another one in?
I'm pretty sure 2 guys scored. Yeah, I do think they need to do a little drag there. Just third home.
All right, well, real quick, we're going to talk about Lower Merion, but this is because Pencrest went on the road to Lower Merion and took them down in extras. That was 2, I think safe to say 2 top 5 Central League pitchers with Gavin Brown and Van Wilner facing off. They both did their thing. They were both out of the game before a decision could be made. I think Gavin had 1 earned run over 7. Van had 0, but like 1 unearned. So went into extras. Then Lower Merion had a couple chances to walk it off, but Pencrest, that felt like a pivotal moment in their year. Like if they lose that game, they're now, I think they would have been 5-5 in the Central League and 6-4 in 5-5. It might be only 1 game, but that's a big jump.
Definitely a big jump.
With all these teams here.
The way they were kind of going, I think they had dropped 3 straight before that. They really needed that one. And it was one of those things where, I don't know, it looked tough because like you're going up against Van, but until then, I don't think anyone had beaten them or beaten him.
Off the top of my head, I don't think so. I mean, they only have 3 Central League losses. I don't think he had lost the game yet.
No, yeah. So I mean, like you're going up against a guy that no one's beaten, and really huge props to Gavin Brown for like matching him the entire way.
Yeah.
And then you get him out, and then you kind of take advantage. So that was a really, really big win.
Yeah, that's like one of those, and I hope that this is not taken as a shot at Van. It's more of a compliment to Gavin. Like, like what college you're going to play at doesn't matter once you get on the field. And that's, like I said, that's more of a compliment that, like, when people see Gavin, they see, like, oh, he's not committed to play anywhere, like, like kind of doubting his abilities a little bit. And meanwhile, you see Van committed to East Carolina, and then once they square off, they go toe-to-toe, and it's like it doesn't matter anymore. But Pencrest won that one in 9 innings. Henry Murphy had a game-winning sac fly. I believe Josh Kalinowski closed it out.
Yep.
And if Pencrest had lost that game, do you think the Delco Baseball Now curse would have started? Because I think they would have been 0-4 since they came on.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit of an issue.
Because I think
I think they got one. They beat Upper Darby.
That's right. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. They came on right before that Haven game, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Because I think they were undefeated in the conference at the time. But either way, big win for Pencrest. Right now the standings, and once this Lower Merion and Radnor game's done, we can read it off for real. But it's cluttered in the middle there.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of teams there. A lot of teams with, like, also chances to move up or down.
Yeah. All right, let's. As of right now, we can talk about. So Strath Haven took over first place. They took care of business this week. They 10-run Conestoga and Upper Darby. Real quick, I just want to talk about the Strath Haven three-headed monster in the rotation, because what these guys have been doing. It's a prototypical Strath Haven team where, like, they are scoring. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think their offense last year was better, but I think that their pitching this year is deeper. Because, right now what Luke Dancona is doing is he's doing what Pac did last year. The difference is right now Rob Matei and Caden Schuster have, like, combined, they've been better than Luke was last year. In that number 2 role. And when I was talking to Feely about it, he was basically just like, I don't need, one single one of them to be Luke from last year, but, like, in the aggregate, like, I need them together to be a good number 2. And, Dancona has been statistically the best pitcher in Delco this year, .67 ERA in 31 innings. Even funnier is that all 3 runs he allowed were in 1 inning on the span of 2 batters. It was a Brady Thompson double and Cole Lombardo homer were his only runs allowed. But Rob Matei has a .7 ERA in 20 innings, and Caden Schuster has a 1.1 in 19 innings. So this is one of those teams where, if they can get hot at the plate like they did in the playoffs last year, because you remember the Strath Haven team last year, they didn't hit in the regular season either.
Not at all.
They did not hit. All, they went 14-2, and I think they had 1 double-digit game. They just suffocated teams. So, once they got in the playoffs, I think they in their first 2 games of states, they had double digits twice. I think they had double digits in that Ruston game you covered. And
like right up. I think they did. Actually.
Yeah, like 10 or 11.
They had 7 in the final against Upper Dublin too.
We got all right. So we're heading to the bottom of the 8th here. Looks like Jack Scholes is on the mound trying to close it out. He's got a 5-run cushion to work with here.
Yep.
Let's see what the Raptors have in store here. If anything changes, we'll keep some updates on there. But let's move on to. I hate to throw a Lower Merion under the bus here, but it was a cool game with Episcopal.
Really good
I didn't even realize when I put it together that they were both. I swear this isn't an anti-Lower Merion show. We're big supporters of the Aces here, but it was a great game, and I wrote about it in the daily roundup where it's like it's a tough, odd situation where 2 teams in the top 5 are playing each other, but it's not a conference game, so it's like nobody's throwing their guy. And it's like the same thing with our Dollar Dog Day with Bonner and Haverford School tomorrow. Like, nobody's throwing their number 1. So it's like, it does matter. Like, it shows the depth of the team, but it's like nobody's going all out to win this game. But Tyler Beaulieu, and Tyler Beaulieu didn't get that message. He hit a double and he hit a homer. He's a Cornell recruit. Meanwhile, Maryland commit Jack Herta with the walk-off double to knock in J.D. Amoroso. You think they should call him like the bread man or something?
That would be a good one.
I wonder if he's I don't know where the company's based out of.
There's a lot of Amorosos in this area.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have no idea. I'm going to look up if it's, because I assume it's a Philly-based company, right?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around here.
It's New Jersey. Okay.
Jersey. All right.
The Bread Man would be a great nickname for him. It's
sick.
like Artemi Panarin on the what team is he? Is he on the Rangers?
Yeah, he's on the Rangers.
I think he's on the Rangers. The Bread Man. So, it's weird. Episcopal, man, like they just haven't been able to get too many big wins. Like they lost to Malvern today. I think they're 1-5 in the Interac, and like it's weird. Like I don't know what what overall the main issue is, I think that just their lineup, like overall, they just haven't been able to string together long innings, and like even in the games they're winning, they're not scoring too much. And it's interesting because their pitching staff is very young, but I'd argue the pitching's been the strength of the team so far.
Yeah,
you know,
all those guys have been pretty good for them, and we saw really like their main three guys on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and they all looked very good. But yeah, that offense has been struggling a little bit. I think like once they got to the Interac, and now everyone's got a Power 5 arm. It got a little rough for them.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the PESA. I think every team in the Interac makes the playoffs. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they might.
In the PESA bracket last year, I saw I think even Germantown made it. So this is a team that if there's any consolation, it's that once it gets to the playoffs, if you have really good pitching, single elimination playoffs, I don't know, but I think right now their goal is kind of just to try and find a way to get some offense going, and I feel like that the top half of the order has been pretty solid.
They put some good swings in the ball, but just hasn't really been enough yet.
No, that's the thing with the Interac. You can find yourself in holes like that. I mean, look at the Haverford school last year. They were 1-4, and then they're looking around the dugout are we really a 1-4 caliber? I think they were 0-4 to start, a really 0-4 caliber team, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it, but. Looks like we got a ball game here. Lower Merion 10, Radnor 5. All right, we'll talk about that real quick. Good bounce back for LM.
Yeah, definitely.
They were 0-2 on the week so far. They did not play on Monday, so they played today instead. But they lost on Wednesday to Pencrest. They lost yesterday to Episcopal. So this win definitely ends the week on a good note. I mean, you never want to go 0-3 in any week. We'll figure out on Sunday what the power rankings are looking like, but this would have been a tough loss for them for the Central League play. I won't say anything guaranteed, but in a 24-team 6A bracket, I don't know.
An unbelievable collapse.
I think they need to win 2 more games.
Yeah.
I think with this win they're now 7-3. I think if they go 2-4 or better, they're in.
Yeah, they're fine.
Because there'll be some teams at the bottom of the bracket that are going 500.
Yeah,
they might, honestly 8-8 might get them in. You don't want to have that route, but
especially at 7-3. They have a chance here to potentially you have a bye, and then you have off of a bye Van Wilner going for you, which would be I know some of those schools they face are just. I want
to look up real quick for the district playoffs. So in the 5A bracket, 3 out of the 12 teams make it to states. They have that third place game. I want to see how many. Is it 6? Is it just doubled? Because the 5A bracket's 12 teams and 6A is 24. So I'm wondering if do 6 teams? Yeah, six teams make it to states. Okay, so 6 teams out of the 6A. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that they're keeping it consistent like that.
What would it be? It would be.
I'm gonna pull up the rankings. Obviously, we won't have the Lower Merion and Radnor games updated, but we can kind of once we're done the storylines, just kind of talk about a little bit about who's there. Real quick, I want to talk about Chichester because they're always a team that them and Interboro both get a lot of crap just because the conference they're in isn't super strong and they consistently win it. But at the end of the day, they're taking care of business. In those Chichester and Interboro games, Chichester's won both. They have a chance to go for the sweep on Tuesday. Josh Claycombs having another strong year. He's hitting 385, 1041 OPS. Gavin Derrickson hitting 351, Cole Sanford 361. Troy Neff, his average isn't there, but I think everybody's just walking him because they know he's one of the best players. His OPS is 960.
Jesus.
But his average is in the 250s or something just because they're trying to throw around him. So the question for them obviously isn't going to be whether they make the playoffs or whether they get a bye. It's just what seed are they going to get? And as of right now, it has them at 1. I think.
Oh, they're at 1 now?
I think there's a formula that divides it by how many games you play because they only play 12 conference games.
Yeah.
Centrally play 16. So I think they get last year. I think they were the 2. I think Upper Dublin was the 1. And
was Strath Haven not the 1?
They were 3 or 4. I think. Because so if Chichester goes 12-0, they'll end up probably 2 or 3. We'll talk about that in a sec. Another team that I think is starting to come along a little bit is Marple. And, that's a team that obviously we were very high on before the year. We had high expectations. It hasn't quite panned out for them so far, but they had 2 double-digit offensive performances this week. Bennett Cox is, I don't think this is a spoiler, will be a first-team All-Delco selection, most likely. I mean, his OPS is over 1,300. He's hitting 488 right now. It's good to see him back and, like, fully healthy. I know injuries kind of banged him up last year. But him and Lucian Berger have been, I wouldn't say, like, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Like, Lucian had a bit of a slower start, but he's up to, like, 342 now.
Yeah, he's definitely been picking it up.
And for them, like, their key is just going to be the starting pitching, because you think about their playoff game last year, they let up 16 runs, right? Like, this year, you can't outslug everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're going to, I think right now they are 6-4 in the Central League. So this week winning those 2 games was definitely big for them to get a little bit of confidence back. I think they play. Who do they play on Monday? I forget who they play Monday, but they play Strath Haven on.
They play Ridley. They play Ridley on Monday.
Do they? Yeah, I feel like that's the one team that they haven't played yet. Yeah. So, see how that goes. But let's talk about these district rankings right here.
All right.
So in 6A, it's a lot of non-Delco at the top, just because some of these schools are so big. If the season ended today, Lower Merion would get a bye, because before.
So what? They're the 8.
They're the 8, but that was before their win today.
Oh,
so they'll be 7-3, maybe move up a slot or not. But as of right now, if the season ended today, Lower Merion's in, Haverford's in, Garnet Valley's in, Ridley's in. Ridley's 4-6, but they would be in as the 23rd team out of 24.
Okay.
And then Conestoga right outside at 25.
Chester at 28.
Chester's at 28 as well. We'll see, man. We'll see. They're 4-3 right now in the Del Valle. If they win, they do the same thing every year.
Yeah.
It's like they beat the teams they should beat, and they lose to the teams that they shouldn't. So, so that would be what? So Lower Merion, Haverford, Garnet Valley, and Ridley. 4 out of 23 is not a great Delco showing, but also there's so many teams in this field.
Yeah, there's a lot more. And you got to think about, like, it's not 4 out of 23. I think it's more of like 4 out of
39, right?
Well, no, it's 4 out of how many Delco teams are.
That's a good point.
That's more of
looking at it like that. Yeah. All right. Well, 5A is the Delco. Like, that's our bracket. Chichester's 1, Strath Haven's 4, Pencrest 5, Marple 6, Radnor 7, Interboro 9, and Springfield's right outside at 14. So what? That's over half of the field, right? Chi, Haven, Pencrest, Marple, Radnor, Interboro. That's 6.
Heron and Sun Valley at 16 and 17.
Yeah, Springfield's not out of it. They're right behind. And I don't know why. I thought they were 6A recently.
They're 6A for basketball.
Oh, okay,
the basketball stuff gets messed up just because all the charter schools.
What about football?
They
because they played Strath Haven.
Yeah,
of course. So that's going to be the fun one, and I mean it's almost just mathematically, like, we have to get a Delco on Delco matchup. It feels like at some point, right? Like,
someone's gonna have to see.
If the season ended right now, Pencrest would play Hatboro Horsham.
Okay.
Upper Moreland would play Radnor. Upper Moreland would play Marple. Radnor would play Ruston, and East would play Interboro. So somehow we wouldn't. But moving on to the next round.
If someone were to win, then they would get either Chichester or Haven.
I just want to see one of them in states. That's
that'd be
that's
nice.
The dream. Like, just go on another state's run and see what can happen. But it feels like, to me, for a deep run, I mean, Strath Haven with the arms is probably the most.
I think they're kind of the obvious choice.
Don't sleep on Radnor as the dark horse. If they're all tough, their pitchers are firing, man.
Yeah, that's good. I guess we had heard Danny Armstrong's throwing a little bit. He
pitched an inning the other day.
He pitched an inning, so he's working his way back. So I mean, you get that number 2 to Austin Havertine, and that's a little scary. I mean, they just came off a tough loss, but they seem to be able to bounce back.
Yeah,
I like them. I like Pencrest still. I think that's a very good team. Marple, I think we know now, like, their pitching staff might not be, or at least like they don't really have like an ace like a couple of the other teams have, but Aiden Curtin's been pretty good for them. They have a couple other guys. Mahalik been pretty good.
Just need to piece it together.
Yeah, they have enough guys who are good, and like that lineup's still sick. Once they start clicking, that they're going to be.
Delco Christian in the dance right now. As I think in D1 in 1A, I think it's just 4. Yeah, 4 teams. But I mean, Doc is just a powerhouse down there in 1A.
Kills teams. So they got the Eric Kratz children now too.
That's crazy. Are we that old that Eric Kratz has high school age kids?
He was older.
He was older. He was definitely in his 30s when he hit that ball off Aroldis Chapman in that game.
He honestly, actually, Eric Kratz might not even be like crazy old.
I'm gonna guess early 40s. Probably.
I think he's like 47.
43. Okay.
When did he have his kids?
What ball player? I don't know. I don't know.
Wait a second. Actually, it's not too bad. Never mind.
Yeah. All right. So that is our high school roundup here. So obviously this is being recorded Friday afternoon. We're gonna edit in the power rankings. So let's send it over to our future selves.
There we are.
All right, power rankings time is being recorded on Sunday, so we got all of our games done for the week. We're going to stay with Bonner at number 1. It was a tough week for them in the conference. They dropped 2 games, but they've been dealing with some injuries. They got some guys back. Took down the Haverford school on Saturday, so we had mentioned that game would be for who stays at number 1 in the rankings, so we will stay true to that. Haverford school staying at number 2. Really good start for them in the conference season, 5-1 in a tough interact. Only loss was to Malvern Prep, who they will get a chance to get revenge for on Friday. So we're going to keep them at the number 2 spot. Strath Haven moves up to number 3. They're their top Central League team right now, both in record-wise and in the power rankings as well. They sit 11-2 overall, 8-2 in the rankings. They got a tough week ahead. So I'm very fascinated to see where the Central League teams stack up after this. We got 2 more Central League teams in a row. We got Haverford Public School making the top 5 for the first time this year. They've won 5 in a row. They've had 3 shutouts in a row. Pitching staff has been phenomenal. Jimmy Boyle and Will Hoffman have just been turning in gem after gem, including Hoffman's perfect game. Moving down to number 5, Lower Merion stays in the top 5. Now, this is where things got a little bit odd because Episcopal beat Lower Merion on a walk-off on, I believe that was Thursday, and we have Lower Merion 1 spot ahead of Episcopal, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to weigh the difference between the non-conference games and the conference games, which is another weird debate with Bonner and the Haverford school. Like, you have the head-to-head result, but just based on the 1-5 conference record for Episcopal, that's why we dropped them down to 6. Just weighing a bunch of different things. Garnet Valley moves up from 8 to 7, so they'll be our 7 team. These 7, 8, 9 teams you could really put in any order, and I think it would be reasonable. I also think Radnor very, very easily could have had a debate to be in this here. Just that last game of the week against Lower Merion, if they'd won that one, they'd be up there as well. So those last couple spots there were definitely difficult. Garnet Valley 10-run Pencrest earlier in the week, so we felt they deserved that spot. Marple 3-win week for them. They scored 10+ runs in every week. Seems like their offense is starting to kind of click, which has pretty much been the selling point of this game. And if they get the good starting pitching to back them up, then they're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. Once again, that's Bonner, Haverford School, Strath Haven, Haverford, Lower Merion Episcopal, Garnet Valley, Pencrest, and Marple. This one, as always, is presented by McDevitt Hitting Lessons. Now, what are McDevitt Hitting Lessons? Well, I'll tell you, Coach McDevitt will come to Swarthmore and Glen Mills to give your 8 to 18-year-old baseball hitting lessons. You can also do group lessons for 8 to 13-year-olds as well. He is a former Westchester baseball player. He's been a hitting coach for over 6 years. He has worked with a lot of the best players in Delco for the Top Lumber Futures travel team, guys like Gavin Brown, Danny Stickney, Tyler McDevitt as well, and some other very good players in the area. So make sure to give him a call, 610-842-7193. You can also find him on Facebook and Instagram, McDevitt Hitting Lessons.
All right, well, I think future us did a great job with those power rankings. I think we did. I mean, we kind of have a general idea, but like our number 1 and number 2 teams are playing each other on Saturday. So obviously the winner will be one. And then O'Hara and Marple also play on Saturday night under the lights. So that's a game that could potentially, give us some ideas as well. But with that being said, let's go into the player of the week, where guess what? We're sending it to our future selves again. So let's hear from our future selves. I wonder what the world's going to be like on Sunday. I don't know. It could be a whole different place.
Now, for our players of the week, I want to thank these 2 gentlemen for making our jobs very easy, because these were 2 ridiculous performances. We'll start off with Bennett Cox. He's a Canisius commit. He's a shortstop from Marple Newtown. He went 9 for 10 at the plate this week. That's right, 9 for 10. He had a homer. He had 4 RBIs. Marple won all 3 games with 10-run-plus performances. Just a ridiculous performance for Bennett, who I think at this point might be honestly hitting over 500. He's up there. His OPS is over 1,300. Just an incredible season for Bennett. That's our hitter of the week. For our pitcher of the week, well, once again, this one was easy. Will Hoffman, perfect game for Haverford Public Schools. 7 innings, 21 up, 21 down. He had 15 strikeouts in a 7-0 win over Harriton. The only pitcher that's thrown a true perfect game in Delco this year. He's a Thomas Jefferson commit, Division II level. So congrats to both Bennett and Will for being our players of the week for this week.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Brendon. Wow, that guy has a way with words. I'll tell you what, Doc. At this time, we had a pretty good idea who the pitcher of the week would be, since Will Hoffman threw a perfect game, unless someone else on Saturday threw a perfect game and had more strikeouts.
Maybe we're leaving the door open.
Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Hitter of the week at this, I have absolutely no idea as of right now. We haven't really looked into that.
We were leaning towards Bennett Cox.
Yeah, so maybe we were right. I don't know.
We'll see.
But the game of the week we do know, and we are heading back to Strath Haven. And before we get any crap from it, just think about it from this way. If in any conference at any time, the number 1 and number 2 team are playing, where the winner is in first place, you're there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd said it to McDonough during when I was subbing the lunch. I'm like, there's a reason the Chiefs and Eagles play every Sunday night, and the Jaguars and the Titans don't. Yeah, it's just like it's about putting the best caliber teams, and I feel like it'll be something where some programs might over a little bit of time get angry they're not on it, but when they are, it's gonna feel like it's a big big game around it, because it hasn't been. And you got to think that the Haverford guys will feel this way, right? When was the last time Haverford Public School was the center of the Delco baseball world, even for a day? It's probably been a little bit, since they've been the center of the.
I'm trying to think the last time they were really good.
Any specific year where they were a legit contender. It's been a little bit, at least since our time.
They've had years where they've been we've had years when there's been years when they've been good.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know winning the Central League good.
No.
To be fair, a lot of teams it's rare to be winning the Central League good. I feel like a few teams have kind of been at the top of that league for a bit now.
Yeah. But we're very excited about this game. It'll be Luke Dancona against Jimmy Boyle. I think Luke's, as we mentioned, his ERA is around 0.6 something. I think Jimmy's is around 1.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him.
Right here.
I'm excited to see that Haverford team in general, because I don't think either of us have seen them in person yet. So it'd be cool to get out and you only know so much from video and write-ups.
It's one of those things where it's I know nothing about Jimmy. I don't know if he's a flamethrower. I don't know if he's a junk baller. I know nothing about him as a player.
His perfect game profile had his fastball topping at 83.
When was that measured?
Before either last summer. It might have been last summer. So
1.09 ERA. We're still talking sophomore here. Fantastic. So we'll get to see those guys go at it. What's the pitch count rules? Because Will pitched on Wednesday, so usually I imagine Jimmy will pitch again, just because. That's what
Jimmy.
Bogo made it seem like he was going to pitch. So, Jimmy and Luke seems like the play. I just have a feeling it's going to be very similar to the game of the week with Haven and Pencrest, where small ball is going to determine who wins. Who's going to make the mistake, who's going to make the big play. Strath Haven 8-2 in the conference, Haverford 7-3. So Strath Haven wins. That builds a nice little cushion from Haverford. That's a 2-gamer and the head-to-head. Obviously, Lower Merion only has 3 losses, but we'll see how that goes. So usually I write down a couple of other good games throughout the week, but we don't have that currently. So let's kind of just do a very quick scroll through. I believe on
Marple and Ridley will probably be good.
Yeah.
We're
learning on the fly.
Two teams are going to go at it.
All right, real quick before we get into next week, this is obviously edited in on Sunday as well, but shout out to everyone who came out to the Dollar Dog Day at Bonner on Saturday. It was an 18-8 win for Bonner. We had 164 hot dogs consumed. I believe we showed up with about maybe 120-ish. They sold out by the second inning. We had to send Strath Haven guys to Acme to go buy more. Caden Schuster from Strath Haven and Shane Durkin from Haverford getting ready for this game of the week. They both had 6 each. Luke Dancona had 5. And just a really cool event. We saw a ton of people out there. Really cool atmosphere at the game. Definitely something that we want to bring back, in the future. Shout out to the man in the powder blue sweatshirt, Dave Thorpe, from Man in the Grill all day long. He was the real MVP of the weekend, without a doubt. So shout out to Dave for helping us out. Shout out our player of the game, Bonner's Jack Redding, an all-time great pitcher from our guy JT Flicks over at Bonner. Jack Redding, 2 for 2. He had a 2-run homer. He walked, drove in 4 runs. It's not on the graphic, but he also threw a scoreless inning as well. And in a game that had 26 runs, throwing a scoreless inning is about as good as it gets. So shout out Jack for being the player of the game, and we're excited to bring back a Dollar Dog Day in the future.
Springfield has a good chance to do something against Lower Merion. Like if they win, like that could be their kind of springboard.
Yeah.
You know,
are they facing Van?
Well, so Van pitched on Wednesday, right? So I don't know.
Oh my God, the Eagles drafted Cooper DeJean.
No way.
Yeah.
The draft's going on. Oh, I thought it started at 8.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know, 7:30.
2 corners. I'm fine.
Wait, they would have had to trade up to get him.
You're definitely right because they had the late pick.
We got Keon Coleman. Oh, let's go. Justin Herbert's got his new wide receiver 1, Ladd McConkey.
No way. He won the 2nd round. Good for him.
Yeah, dude. What? Oh yeah, the Birds traded.
How much did they trade up? Yeah, so we had pick 40. So
we had pick 4.
That's what we took him at.
Oh yeah. What is it? From Chicago through Washington. What did we do? How did we must have just moved some picks around. Okay.
I mean, they got 2 corners.
Double corner?
Yeah, they said we're not letting that happen again.
I will say, Britton Covey, you might be in trouble, bud, because this dude can return kicks.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, yeah. Cooper DeJean's a beast.
Oh, I'm sure Iowa, he had plenty of punt return opportunities, for both Big Ten football.
Yeah, I was about to say.
All right, let's see. All right, so, yeah, Springfield Lower Merion should be interesting. Let's see. What are some other good games here?
That could be a weird one if I think you'd be able to roll Van because it would be Thursday.
I just don't know what the pitch count is. So is it the 5th day you can pitch? So like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe you can. Yeah.
I think it's 4 days of rest for.
Ooh, Bonner O'Hara would probably if Haverford and Strath Haven wasn't as important a game. That's probably would be. Chi and Interboro play on Tuesday, so that's definitely their opportunity to make it a race. Again, Garnet and Lower Merion on Wednesday because Wednesday we're back to. We're back to opening day. So Marple and Haven again, Springfield and Harriton, Radnor and Penncrest. Okay. That old thing. Let's see. What are some other good games?
Yeah, Bonner.
The Media Little League, Delco Baseball Now Blue Jays take on the Pirates on Wednesday.
Love that. That's a big one.
Good game. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? We got another Battle of the Valleys with Sun Valley and Great Valley.
Love that.
It's a tough week for Haven. They got Marple, Radnor, and Haverford.
That's gonna be a big test for them.
We also got the Haverford School and Malvern Prep round 2 is next Friday.
Okay,
so that could be something where obviously it's not the game of the week, but I just would go just to see how many home runs.
That'd be worth going
especially
out to.
if they both win on Tuesday. Haverford will be 6-1 and Malvern will be 7-0. That's like basically the Interact Championship in a way.
Who's Haverford playing on Tuesday?
I think it's. Either for some reason they don't always put their games on Game Changer ahead of time, so it's either Germantown or Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
all right. Cool.
Malvern Prep and Carroll will be Saturday. That's an interesting game. You got to come out and see Malvern Prep's new field if you haven't seen it yet. It's awesome.
Yeah, I want to see it.
So
it looks beautiful.
Stadium seats behind the plate. It's just I just love watching games from behind the plate. Like anytime I go to the bank, and this might be my hottest take. It's like I would rather be up behind the plate in like the 300 or 400s than lower levels down the baseline.
That's fair.
I hate watching on an angle where I'm like turning my neck the whole game. I don't like the risk of getting smoked by a foul ball.
No, that's a little those down the line is a little bit.
Like I'm fine just chilling up in section 420, kicking my feet up and seeing the skyline in the background. And they're way cheaper too. So, yeah, that's what we got.
Also, speak of Malvern Prep, they're apparently a New Jersey school now.
Perfect game.
Shout out Perfect Game.
Well, shout out Perfect Game for ranking them in the top whatever it was. But yeah, the Malvern Prep New Jersey instead. And I'm like, well, good effort. I guess they got to cover the whole country, so it's
they're just probably so shocked that a good team was from Pennsylvania.
What'd be funny is if
they love those teams down south and out west, and then sprinkle in a New Jersey team.
It would be funny if it was football and they put St. Joe's Prep and then New Jersey, it's just the bit of half the roster being from New Jersey. All right, so that is pretty much going to wrap up our high school talk here, but we're going to do things a little bit different for the college segment here. This has Ben taking the lead here.
Are we going to do the slideshow first? We can do the slideshow first, and then
we can do the slideshow first, and then talk about it. All right, so for anybody that doesn't follow us on Instagram, give us a follow there. We do a college baseball, kind of like a recap for individual players from the area that are doing good things around the college baseball world. So let's pull that up here. Steven DiBattista just keeps chucking, man. Keep chucking for Immaculata, looking for their 3rd straight conference title after I don't think they'd ever won one before. That's what Steve was telling me. So Steven DiBattista, 9 shutout innings, 3 Ks.
I'm gonna move this.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. I'll put it over here.
Okay.
Just really trusting that defense here. 3 strikeouts and 27 outs. I bet Steve Tyson was making some plays.
Oh, for sure. That's Steve's lockdown out there. So having a dude like that, you can just kind of stay in his zone. Don't need to blow up by anyone. Just makes life easy.
We'll rotate here. So tell us about our favorite Delco College baseball player, Alden Mathis.
Well, he went 6 for 17 at the plate, bomb, couple RBIs. I checked. So he's hitting 326 in the year, 7 home runs, first season at Clemson. I had checked. I think there was this period there where he had the highest average on the team.
Really?
Yeah, for hot second. I don't know if
there's some good players on that team too.
Oh yeah, dude. Like they're what, 6th in the country now?
Yeah. So I actually, before the season, I put a future bet on Clemson to win the national championship.
That's looking all right. Right now.
So if I would like that on the record that if Clemson goes to Omaha, I will be there. If and I'd imagine if you could join as well. Can you imagine if we're in Omaha and Clemson wins it all and that pays for like the entire trip? Because I would win 4 digits if they.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on. I'm pretty sure I put enough that I'd win like over $1,000 because like they weren't exactly like one of the heavy favorites because they were a top 5 team last year, but I think they lost in their regional.
Yeah, I think so too. If that hits, we might have to start thinking about like getting a little gambling thing going and just like betting on Delco players to raise funds.
Well, I was gonna say, man, like I swear we could do a sports book for the Delco League. Like that's semi-professional.
Yeah,
so
that wouldn't be too. That would be too illegal.
I mean, listen, if we want to be billionaires, I mean, Little League is where the money's at. Dude, that's where the crazy parents are.
I don't think I can lower myself to creating lines for Little League games. That's a.
We don't have to create the lines. We can just ask what the
even having the sports. That might be That's a tough look.
Well, it's only bad if we're wrong. Set the over at like 21.5 for like a Little League game. Actually, no. Well, if they're 12, then they throw too hard for that.
Yeah. If the
I'm trying to look in.
That spread the team from Europe's plus 13.5 against Japan. Like.
All right. Well, while I'm trying to get this, I gotta authenticate FanDuel real quick because usually I've been using DraftKings, but I put this one on.
Yeah.
FanDuel. All right, Mark Quattrani is having a monster freshman year. Haverford School alum. He hit another homer this week. Not only does he have 7 homers in his freshman season, 6 are Oppo. You know what that means. That's what happens when you grow up playing at the Haverford School, where it's 270 to right, and you're just taking them the other way. Sharp black jerseys, by the way. Here, really I like those. Yeah. He's another guy where like it's a weird dynamic when they play in the Ivy League because it's like, do you really want to like jeopardize an Ivy League education? But like, if an ACC or SEC school comes calling, you might have to consider it at some point.
Money
exactly.
Might make it worth it.
Yeah. So, but we don't speculate on another man's future here. No, so as of right now, 7 homers, 343.
Keep killing it.
I think he's just been. I don't know if he's been mostly catching or if they've been like his bat is so good we're just gonna DH him or like put him in the outfield or something.
Yeah, he's playing.
Whatever it is, he's playing. All right, I'm gonna pull this future up. You tell us about a Delco guy playing for a Delco team.
Oh yes, the most Delco team in college baseball. We got Ryan Snyder, Sun Valley grad. He's at Penn State Brandywine. 10 of 15 at the plate, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs. He had a huge game against, I forget now, it completely went away from my head, but he had like one really.
It was a doubleheader, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Penn State York.
I think you're
really
right.
Big game against
7 for 8. I actually took that picture too on the slideshow.
Nice little picture.
Yeah. All right, so we have our answer. So I bet Clemson plus 2,500 to win the World Series.
Okay.
50 to win 1,300.
That
1,300 would most likely pay for.
Yeah, at least be the flights.
It would pay the flight and depending on how many days.
There's some hotel.
Yeah, it's weird because like I was talking to some of the Penn State club guys where it's like if they go back to the World Series, I'm like I'm only going if you can win the championship while I'm there.
Yeah.
Just because it's like we won it last year. Like I'm not going just to see the guy. Like if I'm spending all that money, I'm going for the last game or the last 2 games or whatever. I think I would probably go just the first few days of Omaha see as many games as possible. And
I've always wanted to go
just to make sure that we see Clemson, like if they're in it. So $1,300 sure sounds nice to me. But all right, let's move on here. We got Josh Hankins. I believe he's had a solid year, but I believe his first appearance on the roundup. And he went 6 for 13 this week. He has 2 homers this year. He hit a grand slam last week. So that was something where I just don't think he had like an overall incredible week. So it's just like I'm not going to put him in just for like hitting the grand slam. But he's over at Gonzaga, probably the furthest Delco player away from home.
For sure.
In Washington, I would imagine.
That is a hike.
Justin Rubin's at Pepperdine, which in California is far too, but you're going north and west to go and get him is crazy. But I think, I don't know how much eligibility he has left, but I would like to see him on the Blue Sox again this summer. So I feel like
I'd imagine he's probably going to be in summer league.
What if he's graduating? I think he has 2, right?
He's got at least 2.
Yeah.
Because he was.
I think he did 2 at Coppin State.
Yeah.
So
he's got another year.
All right, tell us about a bullpen pitcher that had a remarkable feat here.
Oh my! All right, so we got Kyle Laser, 4.2 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 7 Ks. Big bullpen arm for Westchester. We'll talk about those guys a little bit later. But he came in relief twice in one day, which I did that once, and it's like really hard.
So would you say it was harder when you were doing it or the next day where you're just like...
Oh, when I was doing it, because the second time I went out there, I couldn't throw a strike. It was like you pitch and then sit back down.
Yeah, for like 3 hours.
Hard. Especially out of a bullpen, you just get like the adrenaline's up. You sit down, everything crashes. Like you're hanging out for another game, you go back out there. It is really hard to then get back up again. Like the dudes that can do that, man, like respect.
It's nuts.
I've tried, and it is one of the harder things to do.
Well, we'll talk about Westchester, as you mentioned. 21 game win streak. They won I think they won the tournament at the bank the other day as well. All right, who we got here? We talking about him, Steve Tyson, Garner Valley alum, Immaculata, 5 for 13. At the time of this slideshow, I don't know if it's still going, he had a 14-game hitting streak for the Max, and I think they I forget what weekend it is. Maybe like the weekend of like the 12th or something of May. They play Cabrini.
It's next weekend, I think.
Is it next weekend? They play at Immaculata. So that could be.
I believe it's next weekend.
I don't know.
I think next weekend's usually the end of conference. It was always the end of conference play for us. But obviously.
Could be Cabrini's last games in the area. Could be their last games in general. I don't know if they're where they're at with like making the conference tournament.
I think they're doing all right.
Yeah,
they should make it. I think they're 3rd or 4th right now in the conference. They have a winning record still.
All right, Ryan Cochran. So some people might not like think of him as a Delco guy because he went to Malvern Prep, but he is a Newtown Square area guy. He's at Lehigh, hitting around 300. He's a sophomore at Lehigh. He was 5 for 12 last week. Getting a lot of time for them. I think it's second base mostly. It looks like, second base. He had 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and what else is new? A Malvern alum is good at baseball.
Yep, shocker.
So,
This just in.
First appearance of the year for this guy. We got another bullpen pitcher.
Jimmy Weigo, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. Got his first win against Villanova.
First college win.
At Monmouth, by the way. Didn't need to add that in. Well, no, he was at Monmouth.
Oh, yeah. Marple alum plays for Monmouth.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, Cabrini is 9-4. So they play that Immaculata series is next weekend, Friday and Saturday.
All at Immaculata, or do they switch? One's probably Carroll, right?
Yeah, home on Friday, at Immaculata Saturday, doubleheader.
Man, we're gonna doubleheader on Saturday. I feel like man, that's another one of those. I wish I could be in 2 places at one time because Haverford and Malvern Prep is Friday. So I feel like that could be something where we go to
there are 2 of us.
I know. I'm saying like
we could.
I'm saying I would probably go to Haverford and Malvern on Friday. Then since I live next door to Immaculata, go there on Saturday. That seems like it would be the plan. Wrapping up the list here, Logan Nelson. He's a Garner Valley alum. He's a freshman at Alvernia. 6 for 15, 3 doubles and a homer. 9-game hit streak for the kid. And something about Delco kids going to Alvernia. They're all nasty. Briner, Nate Sides. Shea McDermott there as well.
Luke Jones is there.
Luke Jones, yeah.
He's actually getting some time, too.
Something about those Alvernia follows us on Twitter, so maybe they're...
Let's go, baby.
I think it was it was either Nelson, I think it was McDermott's dad had, like, said that, our account, like, helped Shane get, like, noticed.
That's incredible,
and I'm
honestly.
I'm telling you, man, Alvernia, they were following along. Shane had a great year last year.
Shout out to Alvernia.
Yeah. All right, sticking on the college theme, so what I was kind of foreshadowing earlier is... So Ben, you can tell us a little bit more about this because like I didn't play NCAA baseball, I played club, so it's different. But like, what are these rankings and why are they important?
So, fair warning, we're about to get a little weird in here. So we got the first set of regional rankings are out for D2 and D3 baseball. So why these are important? These are really important for at-large bids. You think of it like it kind of works as the NCAA tournament for D2 and D3, and even D1 works kind of the same as the one for basketball where like you win your conference, you get an auto bid, everyone else goes into the at-large pool. For D1, they're kind of selected based more closely to more similar to how you are for basketball. For D2 and D3, it gets a little weird. So we have these things called regional rankings. There's multiple regions in each, in each division. And especially for D3, it's really weird for at-larges. There's two things. It's like Pool B and Pool C. So like Pool B are for teams that don't have an auto qualifier in their conference. So like
some conferences don't get an auto
yeah,
bid.
so like Salisbury is one that they don't get an auto bid because they don't have enough teams in their conference.
That makes sense.
And then there's a Pool C that is then so like I think there's one bid for Pool B and then everyone goes into Pool C and you do the more bids. It's really confusing, but like for simplicity, conference champs get auto bids. Everyone else is picked from these rankings. The big thing with the rankings is if you cannot get picked into the NCAA tournament over a team that's ahead of you in the final regional rankings. So if say I don't know that they're not neither of them are in it, but they're both Delco schools. So like say like Widener's 1 and Cabrini's 2, and they both didn't win their conference. You can't pick Cabrini. Cabrini would need to wait until Widener's into the tournament to make it.
So there aren't as many surprises like when the final bracket comes out, I guess.
There are surprises because you start to pick teams and like names will start to move up to the top to get picked and like, but usually that's more of like a team from one region gets in over a team from another region. It's never like you pick someone else out of the region.
So this is just D2 and D3. These rankings.
So these matter for D2 and D3. The stupid thing is that the very first one is just alphabetical order. So it's not like these. So these aren't this one. They aren't ranked per se, but like they're just in alphabetical order. I think every Wednesday from here on out it is ranked. But this original one is still very important because it's like the first time you get to see like, oh, these are the teams that the NCAA or like whatever committee thinks are good. So, and we had a few, no Delco schools in, but a lot of schools with Delco guys. So we can start in D2. They go kind of like directions. So like or not directions, but I'm trying to think of a different word than region. I don't know.
Like areas, like different.
Yeah. So there's like
region's a good word.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the word region.
That was so we have in the Atlantic region that's like basically entire PSAC, East Stroudsburg, Indiana, Millersville, Seton Hill, Shippensburg, Slippery Rock, and Westchester are all ranked. Like half the PSAC's in there. The two big ones for us are Millersville and Westchester. They're the only two with Delco guys, so we'll catch up on a couple of them. Mike Costello from Pencrest, he has like 8 appearances for Millersville. Jimmy Kirk isn't from Delco, but played in the Delco League.
Also Malvern Prep.
Prep guy, being good at baseball.
He's not. Where is he from?
I forget where he's from.
Yeah, I just know he's not Delco.
Yeah,
specifically, but Westchester's the real like Delco D2 team.
They got a ton of guys.
I mean, they got Joe Sperone from O'Hara's in the rotation, Kyle Laser out of the pen we just talked about, Johnny DiMucci behind the plate, Casey Vaughn. A lot of starts, mostly at third, I think, third and short, somewhere in the infield, and Andrew Cantwell definitely has had his role decreased over the past. Like I think he's just kind of running out of juice compared because he's thrown a lot of innings for them
for sure
in his time there. But it feels like in the regional, it's always PSAC teams playing each other to get to the World Series, right? Like there's always, I feel like either Westchester or Millersville is in the World Series every single year.
Yeah, so they do, again, like D2 and D3 does, your regions are almost more by conference than they are like where you are. So yeah, like that region's always going to be PSAC teams because that's every PSAC team's in there. So they're always kind of going at it against each other, which is just makes it really fun, honestly. It's a pretty cool, like PSAC's one of the best conferences in D2 baseball, so it's cool to like have them all playing
it's
other.
like them and like the Conference of the Carolinas are two of like the big ones. So yeah, Dylan Biddle from Pencrest pitches for Goldie Beacom. One guy that, this is another weird one. So Jake Kelchner is also in Goldie Beacom. He went to Carroll, but he's not from Delco.
Okay, I saw him because they did going through the rosters. I like went through a lot of these teams just like make sure I wasn't missing anyone. Yeah. And I saw him. I was like, I know that dude's name, but they didn't have the high school. They had like where they're from in the roster. So he's
like probably like Collegeville or Royersford or something. Yeah. So he played. My cousin Sean played for Springford with Kelchner,
there we go.
And then I saw him pop up because he was originally committed to Bama. I don't know what happened, but he ended up. Yeah, he was.
Oh my God.
I think he actually went to Bama at one point.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I think he went to Bama, then a JUCO or whatever he did. He's not from Delco, but he played for Carroll. But D3, obviously your area of expertise, but a lot of teams with Delco guys.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot more, and honestly, we're gonna see. I mean, Westchester and Millersville are both very good, very highly ranked. Like, there's a couple teams here that genuinely like are one of the favorites to actually win the whole thing. But we'll start. So this D3 goes by numbers for their region. So we got Region 4. Misericordia's in there. That's the main one. They got 2 guys. Brian Henry from Bonner hasn't pitched lately, but started a little bit for them. And then Drew Van Horn from Garnet. He's actually been playing a bit more lately. He started every game in their, or started 2 games in their series last weekend against Del Val. Hitting 320, like playing pretty well. And then just like a couple other local teams, so like Arcadia, Penn State, Harrisburg, Rowan, where Matt Cain's going to go.
And Jason Bennett, we will have 2. We will have 2 Delco guys. Yeah, that's right.
Soon they'll be there. And then, so yeah, that's kind of it for that region. Region 5 is the big one, really.
Wow, yeah.
This is a lot of the guys.
That's your guys.
Yeah, this is, so we got, starting off, we got Catholic. So Sammy Berman's there. He's started every game, hitting 294. His power's starting to get there a little bit. He has a couple home runs recently. Roman Tazi has been killing it. He honestly might have a shot to win Pitcher of the Year in the Landmark. He's 6-0 with a 2.3. Like, just.
So I'm guessing he's been pitching so well they didn't let him try and be a 2-way, because I know I always thought he was a solid hitter but a great pitcher.
Yeah.
And like when he told me they were going to try and let him 2-way, like I was all for it, but in my head I was wondering like if he pitches as well as he can, like they're not going to let him do that. Like it's more important to keep him healthy, and
Catholic's a tough lineup to break into too. They're really good.
Tell us about the Blue Jays.
Let's go. Yeah. Also in there, big news. This is big important day for me here to see this, but E-Town Blue Jays in there. They got Quentin Pirelli, just
dog,
like so
12
good.
homers is hilarious.
12 bombs. He is a sophomore and has the all-time home run record at E-Town now. He's unbelievable.
That's silly.
Just leading that offense, and also like hasn't played yet, but shout out to the boy Chris Graz. Just keep grinding there.
He's a freshman.
Yeah, of course. It's kind of again like another really tough lineup to break.
So obviously, for this, whoever wins the Landmark gets the auto bid.
Yeah. So there will be
Could that be Catholic and E-Town in the championship? Is that is that the 2 highest ranked teams? Or
so Scranton's also up there. We'll kind of get to them, but so I think it's Catholic, E-Town, Scranton, and who's the other one? I think Wilkes has a pretty good rate. It's like their first time in the conference, but they have a decent
Where
record.
is it at the 1 seeds?
It's at Scranton. It's at Scranton every year because they have turf.
That's better than us going all the way out to DC.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that could be fun, even if we're not like covering it, just to like go and just
sure. But there's a very real possibility that E-Town and Catholic are playing.
If that's the case, we're going. We're telling Nico to come with us, and just like Nico and.
Although I will say, having been played in and followed a lot of Landmark Conference tournaments, things get a little
chippy.
Not chippy, but like your top seeds, honestly, like don't win all the time.
It just gets weird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We won as a 3rd seed. I think the next time E-Town won, they were a 3rd seed too. Like there's a lot of really good teams at the top of the conference. So
how'd you made the NCAA tournament once?
Yeah, my freshman year.
How'd you guys do?
We went 1-2. So we lost to.
So it's not single elimination. Oh, no, it's like the regional.
It was like an 8-team double elimination. It's a massive. So it's now 4. It used to.
That's
be
what. Okay, that's what
it's
I thought.
A massive tournament. So we lost to Wheaton in like a close game. Wheaton was really good. Beat like SUNY Maritime, who like all of their players got deployed, because you have to go when you go to those like. Boat schools.
Boat schools.
I don't know. When you go to
service schools.
Yeah, when you go to those schools, you have to like go out and do stuff on a boat. So like, they won their conference, and they're like, it doesn't matter. Like, you guys got to go out and do your shit. And then I think we got killed by Alabama.
Johns Hopkins, reigning national runner-up. Isaiah Winokur from the Haverford School. It looks like he hasn't played in a while, so probably a little banged up at the moment. Also, my Delco League teammate Jake Ciani. He's not Delco. He's Penn Charter and Philly, but he's been on Wayne for the past 2 or 3 years now. So you have for Scranton a couple of Delco League guys. I've never heard of either of these guys.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to attempt to say Deuce's last name.
I've never even heard of
it.
Deuce Razudical.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's brutal. That's like Swerdanevich bad.
Yeah, he was on Upper Darby.
Razukadlo. Just call him Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce.
And Chris Gutt. Yeah, I don't know either of these guys.
Yeah, so Deuce played a little bit of Upper Darby, and I looked. He's actually from Garnet Valley when I checked the thing. Yeah, he went to. He didn't go to Garnet Valley. He went to Sleaziana, but he's from Garnet Valley. And
never heard of this guy.
Chris Gutt. I think he was a prep guy or a St. Joe's prep guy, and I just know that the Narberth Outsiders tweet about him put a story of him a bunch. So I kind of assumed he was a Delco League guy.
Yeah,
but yeah, that wraps up Region 5.
Yeah, you got two more Delco guys on teams that are they both? Is Randolph-Macon Ohio?
No, they're Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's...
But Baldwin Wallace is Ohio.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so both kind of like really tough regions, but Region 6 got Randolph-Macon, John Kesey. He's started, I think, every game. It's 32 games in the outfield. I would imagine that's every game. He's hitting .318. That's a team that honestly really has a shot to go. It's a tough region because you have kind of like all your ODAG schools, like Shenandoah, like all of them. But Randolph-Macon's always a really good team. And then Region 7. Sorry, trying to read Roman numerals. Got Baldwin Wallace, another Blue Sox teammate, Max Anastasio. He's out there. He's hitting .301. He's been playing a bunch, and they are, I believe, like the third or fourth ranked team in the country right now.
We got to say real quick, that's a tough scene that Max transferred from Oberlin to Baldwin Wallace, which, I mean, Baldwin Wallace is obviously a higher ranked program, but then they lost. Like, they were probably giving him so much crap during that game.
They probably had.
And I'm sure he ate it. I mean, non-conference game, right? Like
I don't know, actually. It might be. Because if it was on a weekend, it might be a conference game.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that kind of wraps it up. We'll kind of, I guess, keep you posted on like how the rankings go. If teams aren't in it now, like that, you can always get into it. There's not a ton of time left, so like
one thing I was just gonna say. One thing is that we're gonna get. I don't know if this is I think we mentioned on the show before. We're gonna have a couple of interns joining us soon because Declan Wayman from Harriton, Ian White Jr. from Haverford School, who was on the show, Fred Jordan, who is definitely on the show from the Haverford School. All three of those guys are working with us as their senior project. So we're going to have a lot of guys where, like, according to, like, them, it's like they'll just do, like, whatever we need them to do.
Cool.
So whether that's, like, you know, we send them, like, our list of college players, be like, hey, just, like, go through these, like, pick some of the best statistical performances, or whether it be editing the show, like, whatever we need, they're going to help out with. So that's going to be a big help for them and for both of us. Like, really,
for sure.
They're going to get the experience, and we're going to get some more hands on deck, which is super cool. But my main point for that was we'll be able to expand on the college stuff when we have more time and more people. Like, we can be like, all right, Declan, you get us, like, the high school stats for the week. Fred, you get us, like, the college. Like, we can have more people doing more stuff. So I feel like for college, like, it starts off hot because it's the first thing. It's the first baseball of the year. Then once high school and the Phillies start, it kind of cools off. But then once the playoffs come and the tournaments start and the playoffs get going, that's when it really gets going for us.
The regionals for college are the best.
The best. Cool. Like, I mean, this might be, like, obviously an unpopular opinion for the world, but, like, I enjoy the format of the NCAA baseball tournament more than basketball because I like the pods. I like how
the pod. It gives a little bit more. I don't know. Like, I feel like for basketball, like, you get the upsets and the Cinderella runs are just unbelievable.
Yeah,
and you kind of lose that with, like, the double elimination pods in baseball. But I don't know. I feel like those just give us, like, really awesome.
All right, I will say I wish that, like baseball, in basketball, the top 16 got to host. Like, if UConn could have could have their first weekend be in their stadium, like, it's so cool for these guys. Like, you know, Tennessee, like Clemson, like Alden, they're probably going to host a regional.
They get to play at their home field.
And you get to play in your home field. And I don't know if you get to be the home team every game. I don't think so. You should, in my opinion. But
I think it is, like, when you start off. So when you're the one playing the four, I think you are the home team. After that, I'm pretty sure it's
flip a coin
or something. I don't know.
All right, that'll wrap up the college. Real quick before we end the show, we got to give a couple minor league guys their shout out. I guess I should say major league guys for Brendon Little.
Yes, sir.
Conestoga alum is back in the show for his second stint.
I got to walk off him.
You got to walk off him. There we go.
He walked me.
Was it 4 pitches?
No, it was like 3, and I was praying to any god that would listen that he would throw something out of the zone because I was not going to hit it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So good.
He's so good. He's back. I only played 1 year of varsity, so he graduated, I think, like 15 maybe.
Yeah, he was a year ahead of me.
Where did he go to college? Was he Richmond?
He went to UNC for a year, transferred to a JUCO,
right? Yeah.
and like started throwing 97 and got drafted.
Yeah.
Brendon
Brendon got called up. Yeah, he got called up to the Toronto Blue Jays. One of their relievers got hurt. Hopefully Andrew Bechtold can join him.
That would be awesome.
Eventually, but Brendon Little is now our only. Technically not Delco because it's Stoga, but our local guy that's in the majors right now. A guy that's well on his way is Kevin McGonigal. He missed some time with an injury, but he went 4 for 7 in his first 2 games back, 3 for 4 in one of those games. And it's just so nice that, like, I feel like when a lot of guys get to higher levels, whether it be themselves or their coaches, they kind of like change their approach, change how they play. His swing looks the exact same. He's doing the exact same thing that he did at Bonner, the same timing, the same swing. It's just like, it's cool to watch him develop.
Oh, for sure. The one he had a double kind of like short hop the right field balls. I saw him do the exact same thing against Ruston, and it looks like the ball probably went a little bit further because it's a professional field, but it really does. Like, you're right, it looks the same.
I just don't know how his timing is so like on point because he has a swing where I won't call it long, but it's one where he kind of like goes back and then forward as opposed to just like quick foot down and like
it's
like
a smooth swing.
It's smooth. It's just like you can only have that kind of swing if your pitch recognition is incredible, which his is. And like I wouldn't be able to do a swing like that because I don't see the ball as well out of the hand. And it's like if I think I'm on time, then it's a curveball. Then you're like leaning out in front, and it's just like his pitch recognition is just ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
Productive show.
Definitely.
Very productive show. So I think for the plan going forward, I think what we're probably going to do, and there's pros and cons with this philosophy. I think we're going to be in the studio next week, but I think overall in the studio a little bit less, mostly to save money, but also because we could get out more than one show a week if we're doing it like the way the PIAA playoffs work is the games are Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday. So if we could hop on like Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, like I would even consider doing something where we stream it live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Be like like after a night of games, like everybody tune in at 8:00 and we'll talk about all the games, especially if we have guys like Fred and Declan, all them writing some recaps for us.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit more time.
We can focus on that. But this will obviously be out. Hopefully you guys showed up to our Dollar Dog Day, and we got another good week. This should be out most likely Sunday night or Monday night, but we got another good week coming. Where I would say probably regular season wise, probably about like the half to 2/3, around like 50 to 60%.
2/3 is a good.
Yeah, I think 2/3 because Centrally games they're about to hit the 11 game out of 16 mark, so 2/3. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out producer Rob, stepped out for a sec, but as always hooking us up. Make sure to follow us at Delco Baseball on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. TikTok we haven't posted as much because the reels haven't been as frequent lately. But as always, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.